Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. If you're on Facebook there, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. If you are on YouTube, please smash the like. Drew's watching in there. That's funny. Hey, Drew. He's watching. He's got Erica's phone, and clearly he just went to YouTube, and then he found this video live, and he's just sitting like right in there watching it. It's a little distracting hearing myself on playback. Anyway, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got. If y'all missed it yesterday on AFR, really good convo with LSU's new recruiting coordinator for baseball, Dan Fitzgerald. If you missed that conversation, catch it on demand. If you're on YouTube, just hop over to the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. You can hear it on there. Was a really good convo. Tons of energy, man. That's obvious. They're not done recruiting for 2021, obviously, for this upcoming season's roster. And man, energy, also pretty self-aware. He'll probably be your third base coach. I really enjoyed that conversation. You got a lot of youth. You got a lot of energy on this staff, man. Big change. All right, let's say some good mornings. Whatever y'all got, fire away. Trivia Carter, good morning. Hunter Picard, morning Scone, headed to NOLA to sling some vegetables. All right. Just sling some vegetables. Merrick Mathern, good morning. Apollo Balboa, 1985. Thoughts on the Maria Taylor, Rachel Nichols situation? Not really. Tim Gotro, good morning. Jonathan Martin, Bart St. Germain, Kelly Presley, Megan Hurst, Jeff McKithen, Jason Truax. Hey, Dad, good morning. Nate Green, good morning. Brian and Andy Penn, good morning, Matt, from Roanoke, VA. Do you think LSU will have more fans than UCLA at the Rose Bowl? That's a good question. I'm going to say no. Here's my reasoning. So before pre-pandemic, UCLA averaged it was one of their all-time lows. I can't remember if it was like 43 or like 48. Here it was. They're 43,848. So UCLA's average attendance in 2019 was the lowest since they moved to the Rose Bowl in 1982. So 43,848 was their lowest attendance ever. I don't think LSU is going to have 43,000 people there. Now, I think if that's the basement for UCLA and you're coming off a COVID year and you have an opponent like LSU coming in, which is going to draw more people, then I think you're going to see that number for UCLA tick up. I think the game will approach a sellout, and I think LSU will have at least 30,000 people there. I think that's ambitious, but considering nobody traveled last year, everybody was able to save money on stuff like that. And this is a trip that people have been wanting to make for years because LSU literally may never play in the Rose Bowl again. I think you're going to have people travel the same way they did when LSU played at Lambeau in 2016, and there were more than 30,000 LSU fans at that game. So I think you're going to see something similar. But I think there'll be more UCLA fans, but LSU will be well represented. Breezy Bro, good morning. Leo Williams, good morning. Jeff McKithen, how was the old Fitz? Excellent, thank you for asking. Yeah, one of my birthday presents for my parents. They got me a bottle of Old Fitzgerald, the 8-year bottled in bond, and it's magnificent. We did a flight a while back, several months ago, maybe almost a year ago now. It was during quarantine, and we had the Old Fitz 9 and the Old Fitz 11, and the 9 blew the 11 out the water, and it was actually one of my favorites in the whole flight. So that 8-9 year probably is the sweet spot for Old Fitz, and I'm gonna tell you, if you have some, make sure you're patient with it and let it open up, because the first sip through the last were drastically different experiences. And Erica got me a bottle of Dickel 15-year single barrel, the store pick, and it was very, very tasty. Erica had no idea what she was buying. Dickel's very good juice. A lot of people source their juice from George Dickel. You did. Good job. She did very, very well. Drew Hurst, good morning. Eric Trusclair, morning, Scone and Drew. Big day of sports ahead. UFC, Big Three basketball, MLB All-Star Weekend. So, and also Major League Draft is on, starts Sunday as well. So UFC tonight, McGregor Poirier. You know, there's so many people that I trust their opinions that are picking Poirier. I think Conor's going to win this fight. I think, I don't know if we've talked about it here, if I talked about it on AFR or whatever. Whether you're a fight fan or not, I know Conor McGregor gets a lot of people's interest, and then Dustin Poirier, of course, is a Lafayette guy. But, so it's kind of like Rocky 3. Rocky's the champion. He starts doing all this stuff, and he's in movies, and he's fighting Thunderlips, and he's training in the hotel, and he's got people everywhere. He's just focused, not distracted. Need to get the eye of the tiger back. That's kind of, I think that's kind of Conor. Ring rust is a very real thing. And he's fought 3 times in the last 5 years. Typically, you fight 2 or 3 times in a year. Most fighters. So I think he went into that fight with Poirier, and he wasn't ready, bro. Poirier was primed and ready to roll. And Conor is still one of the greatest strikers the UFC has ever seen. And both men are 32. It's not like Conor's out of his prime and Poirier's just entering his prime. They're similar stages in their career. But I really think with a full camp and focus, Conor comes into this fight and wins it. And I think it's very similar to the Nate Diaz fight where Conor fought him twice. Nate took a fight against Conor on short notice. Nate was a bigger man, and he choked Conor out. And they immediately scheduled the rematch, and Conor got bigger, and he went right through Nate, and he managed to keep it on the feet. And that's the key for this fight tonight. If Conor can stay on his feet, I think he'll win the fight. If Poirier gets Conor to the ground, Conor's a fish out of water on the ground, and he'll probably get choked out. Just my 2 cents. I know Conor started as a favorite. The smart money, sharp money has come to Poirier, and the line has moved, and Poirier is now favored in the fight. But I think there's great value with Conor there. I'm not going to bet the fight, but if I was, I would bet Conor. Kelly Gross, good morning. Alex Robaleski. And by the way, I'm not a victim of the Conor hype train. Like when Conor fought Khabib and everyone was all Conor, I was like, Conor will get his ass whipped because Khabib's the best fighter this division's ever seen. Like, he's the most well-rounded. He's absolutely going to tear Conor McGregor apart. I did. Oh, yeah. So that's not just Conor hype train. I think this is a fight that Conor wins, though. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Alex Robaleski, how many current players do you think will be cut from the baseball team? Well, keep in mind, Alex, you're probably never going to hear anybody say cut, And it's a good question. You've already got 4 in the transfer portal, but it's really important to remember a big part of that depends on what happens in the draft. So I'm not dodging your question. It's literally an unknown because I don't know what's going to happen in the draft. I mean, you've got 3 or 4 guys that are signees that could well take money and never show up on campus. But if those guys show up on campus, you have to have a spot for them. And then we have the question about, the guys currently on the roster. Like, I don't believe Gio is going to be back. I think he will be encouraged to sign wherever he gets selected. I do think Mikael Hilliard's back. As I understand, he's going to come back for his super senior season. The COVID senior year, right? I'm curious about Fontenot. Like, if Fontenot gets his number, probably signs. If he doesn't get his number, I think he's back, right? So a lot of that really depends on that, right? I mean, if it were like the old days where you didn't have a roster limit, you could have 50 guys on the roster if you want. They could, but Terrio and I were talking about this yesterday. I think they're at 43 or 47 right now. Like, so, I mean, they got work to do still, Hey, Dylan Landry, good morning. Lawrence Burley, Jeff Stipe, do we get another football commit today? I don't know. Wish I could help you with that, Jeff, but I mean, I unapologetically lean on the guys that know recruiting because it's just not in my wheelhouse to go run down high school athletes to find out what they're thinking. It's just not. I mean, there's guys that do that professionally. I lean on them, and I don't know. Brian and Andy Pint, what did you get away from your interview with Fitzgerald? Okay. He's probably going to coach third base. He is an offensive guy. Very self-aware, said pitching and catching is not really my forte. He was a head coach at the junior college level, so he's got that. Very aware of LSU's tradition, history, honored to be here, all that sort of stuff. And also talked about the difference in recruiting, with Dallas Baptist and with LSU. But the big takeaway is he said, look, we'll go after best of it. Because I asked him about this roster. He said, look, it's always best available, right? You go to the best available players, but you can never have too many arms. And I think that's going to be a big shift. When you look at LSU last year, when you had this sort of glut of position players that didn't play. I mean, just think about the outfield, right? Where you had Dugas, Gio, and Cruz, and then Bianco also played some outfield, and then you had Mitchell Sanford and Brody Drost, and you had this, and there's other guys just not popping in mind right now, but I know other guys played out there, but like Safford played out there a little bit, but you had a glut of players that were never going to see the field, and so the idea sort of is, would you rather just have your starting 9 and roll with them and then load up on arms, or have a whole bunch of guys that you mix and match and rotate in and out and this and that and tinker, like Paul would do. I think it sounds like this staff's approach is going to be different, where you're not going to have that glut of position players where you're trying to figure out, like, why do you have Milazzo, Travinsky, Wyeth, Braden Doty? Like, why do you have 4 catchers on your roster? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to have 4 catchers on your roster. So, we'll see. Jump back over here to YouTube. By the way, please smash the like there on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. 49 watching, 50 watching, 23 likes. If you would hit that like button, much appreciated. Strong side. Good morning, Scone. Headed to Houston to watch the Astros. Little Astros Yanks this weekend, huh? That's exciting. Bregman, LeMahieu. Pretty exciting weekend. A couple of LSU Tigers over there. Trivia, Matt did this on purpose, coming on late, knowing I got to work on Saturday. If you don't want my comments, just say so. Trivia, you never comment on Saturday, or you say you can't do Ask E-Rock on Saturday. No, I didn't intentionally come on late. Erica and I stayed up late last night. Well, late, like past midnight, and then I slept till I woke up at 6:30, and then laid back in bed, and then got up at 8. So Tim Gotro, just saw a one-on-one interview with Jay Johnson. Very impressed with him. He's been great in all his interviews. If you want, you go back and check out the one he did on AFR. We had him last week. He was great. Bruce Shales, let's go Poirier. Yeah, man. Dude. So you know, like, I do cheer for the Louisiana guy. So I'm very much pulling for Poirier tonight against Conor. I'd love to see him do it. But if I had to bet, the odds being what they are now, especially, I'd put my money on Conor. Trey Haydet, good morning. Janet Anderson, good morning. Merrick, if baseball players are in Baton Rouge, can Jay Johnson start working with them on hitting, or does he have to wait until school starts? Good question, Merrick. I need to get clarification on that because I know those guys are around the facility, but I don't know if they can do on-field work. Like, I know they can communicate. I just don't know if they can do on-field work together. And so does that extend to the cages? Let me see if I can get that answer because that's a little gray and I don't know. My guess is I think they'd have to wait until fall, right? Until fall ball starts. Similar to how like football right now can be around the facility and the guys can do on-field work that's player-led, but Moffitt is the only one that they can work with, in the weight room right now. Matthew Godwin, good morning. Troy Hebert, why can't coaches talk about potential recruits even if they are committed already? Because even if they're committed, they're not formally a member of the program yet until they actually sign. So they want to avoid things like tampering and stuff like that. But Troy, I kind of think it's silly that you can't. But could a coach talking about a high schooler publicly maybe unfairly induce someone to sign? Maybe, but whatever. Look, a lot of the NCAA's recruiting rules are absurd, and that might be another one of them. Troy Plummer, good morning. Merrick Bethune, did she buy it because the bottle was cute? Erica, did you buy me the Dickel because the bottle was cute?
No, it's not a cute bottle at all.
Oh, not a cute bottle at all.
I don't like the name.
And she doesn't like the name.
Anything about it, honestly.
Why'd you buy it?
Well, because it was different and it said Alexander Store Pick, honestly.
Got it. Got it. So Merrick is referring to the fact that when Erica buys me craft beer, which she does from time to time, because I like to support local breweries. I'm not a beer guy per se. I love beer, but I can't say I know a lot about it. Like, I don't know about hops and different ingredients and this or that. But I just know if I enjoy drinking something. And so from time to time, she'll snag me a pack of brew, and it's usually because the cans are cute. What do you think about the one from yesterday?
Cute front, awful back.
Cute front, awful back.
You turn that thing around, I don't see the back of it.
It's bleacher bum. So there's like a guy laying on the bleachers on the back, with his shirt off and his pot belly. It's like a cartoon. But she thought the front was really cute, but the back not so much. Troy Plummer, are there any travel packages for UCLA? Yeah, man, but I'm going to tell you, I was talking to Jason Ramazan over at Mr. Fun's Travel. I think he sold out. So you may want to check. Like, I would get on that now. And then the LSU Alumni Association has the Travel and Tigers program. Those are the two that I would say, that I have gone with personally in the past. They're awesome. They do everything first class. I'd get on that pretty pronto, man. And even if their planes are full, like maybe they could get you set up with hotel and room and game tickets and pregame party, all that stuff. If you can just get out there, there might be some of those packages available. So, but I'd get on that, man. Let's see. Oh, Wimbledon this weekend as well, right? The Wimbledon Championships. Let's see. Matthew Godwin. Let's go Poirier. Hunter Picard. The cauliflower ear will be victorious. Reagan Leschere, hope your seemingly exhausting breakdown you gave to the Chicken Littles about NIL calms them down. Also, great interview with Fitzy. Can't wait to see what he does with the LSU brand backing him. That's very true. If you're out there representing Dallas Baptist, which is a small school, which I've never been to, by the way, but I had someone describe to me basically it's like a big high school. And you're pulling players to Dallas Baptist, and you're pulling that roster together, and constantly in postseason play and super regional stuff. That is impressive. You can tell why, man. Troy Plummer, what's your opinion on Coach O being listed as number 5 coach in the SEC? Lists are stupid, and I don't really care. Billy Mathern, morning, Matt. Not to be dismissive, Troy. I actually started a segment on my show this week making fun of lists, and we actually made fun of that list. I don't care. I genuinely don't care where anyone's listed on who's the best coach of this side, whatever. Billy Mathern, morning, Matt. What happened to Chip Kelly? Has come close to recapturing what he had with the Ducks. You would think, being in Southern California, you'd be able to land better players. So, Billy, that's really interesting. And a big part of it, I think, is the fact that the game is caught up, right? When Chip Kelly 10 years ago was running the blur offense in Oregon, nobody was doing that. Now, hurry up, no huddle, everybody's doing it, right? It's going fast isn't unique anymore. That's number one. He did have a big rebuild last year, but I will say this: if the record is not good, and your record is what you are, but we'll say this: go check out their games last year. And COVID was obviously what it was, and it was a bizarro year, and they only played, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. They played 8 games. They lost to Colorado 48-42, so they lost by 6. Their Utah game was canceled. Remember, Pac-12 did not make... No, so they played 7 games, sorry. So they did not make up games that were canceled. Then they played Cal and won 34-10. Then they went to Oregon, which was ranked number 11, and lost 38-35. That's a game they had won. They had that game won, and Oregon scored late and won it. They beat Arizona 27-10. They beat Arizona State on the road 25-18. Then they lost to USC. That's one where SC scored like in the final minute to win it, and then won it 43-38. And then they lost in 2 overtimes to Stanford. So they lost by 6 to Colorado. They had late leads at Oregon and against USC and lost them both by less than a score. And then they lost in 2 overtimes to Stanford. So, I mean, they were this close last year to being a really good team. Like, they weren't out of any of their games. They weren't outclassed in any of their games. So that's a team where I'll grant you, man, like, I don't know a ton about UCLA, but if you just look by comparison, man, even in 2019, his second year, they got pounded in some games. I'm looking at it right here. They lost to Utah 49-3. They lost to USC 52-35. They lost to Oregon State 48-31. Remember, they played that game against Washington State, the 67-63 game. They won it, but anyway, point is, last year was year 3 under Chip, and they were much better on the field. The results didn't show because they lost some close games and lost some late leads, but they were much better last year. So I'm kind of curious about UCLA. And when, I don't know if you saw this week, but Vegas updated point spreads for the opening weekend of college football. UCLA opened LSU -2. LSU was a 2-point favorite when that opened. It's up to 4 now, and I think it's going to keep climbing closer they get to kickoff. But Vegas looked at that initially and said, pretty close game here. So, see. Taylor Castagne? Castagne? Castigne. Which new coordinator impact will stick out more next year? I'm assuming you're talking about football, and it's got to be defense. LSU scored points last year. They couldn't stop anybody. It better be Durante Jones, because if LSU is literally the worst defense ever again, then they're going to go 4-8 and they're going to fire everybody. So it better be Durante Jones For what it's worth, I don't think they're going 4-8. But if they're the worst defense ever again, they will. Do you think Conor has to win this one? If he loses, it'll be like 3 of his last 4 fights in the octagon. Yeah, I mean, Bruce, they'll keep running him out there to an extent. I mean, as long as he's healthy. But to your point, yes. I mean, in the UFC, you have to win fights. I mean, that like in all of the great ones, it happens to where they've signed a contract for X amount of fights and they just can't win anymore. And then they're losing to people that at one point in their career they would completely outclass. I mean, just recently happened with Anderson Silva. And eventually it's like, yeah, you're not fighting anymore. Like, we're not going to keep running you out there. So I'm not saying Conor's there, but I think Conor's at a point where he's got to decide, what do you want to be? Because at 32, his career's not over at 32, but at 32, he's got to decide, like, do you want to be an MMA fighter or do you want to be an entertainer? Because if you want to do boxing and you want to do movies and you want to do Proper 12 and all that sort of stuff, like, that's fine. But you can't do MMA as a side hustle, like as a little hobby. Because if you do that, you're never going to be able to win. And you have to be able to win to be interesting in the UFC. So if Conor's getting that point now where if you don't win, he's just a sideshow. He's just a yipper dog on a chain in the corner. You got to be able to back up what you say. So we'll see if it's major for the UFC if Conor wins tonight. They need him to win tonight, quite honestly, for exactly the question that he just asked. Let's see, Brian Ashcraft, what do you think about a big-time pitcher, say for Friday night guy? You think we get that guy to transfer after the draft? Maybe. I mean, there's more than 1,000 players in the transfer portal, so who that is, I don't know. We've talked about it here before. They have a silent commit from a lefty. A big part of that, I think, is going to make sure you have roster space. But yeah, I don't think they're done, man. Who's the kid transferring from LSUE? He's supposed to be a stud. I'm not exactly sure. Rap in batches. What's up? Eric Wilderod, our last ESPN mock draft doesn't have Marceau draft the top 3 rounds and is outside of the top 100 prospects. What caused him to drop since high school? It seems like he's only proven more to scouts. So, Eric, the latest mock draft was not 3 rounds. It was 2 rounds. It was the mock draft 3.0. That was Kylie McDaniel's mock draft. And I do think... let me actually check just to make sure I'm not mistaken there. But I'm pretty... Because I talked about that yesterday on the show. And I think it was a 2-round draft. Yeah, it's the first 2 rounds. It's the first round. It's the compensatory picks. It's the sandwich round. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. The compensation picks, the competitive balance round, and then round 2, which puts you at... oh, shit, he did do a long draft. Oh, no, this is my bad. That's just his prospects. Oh, did he do this all the way through? I talked about this yesterday. There's Ian. We got Ian Muller at 178. That's good news for LSU. So he did the top 200. Did he really? Wow. Or maybe is that just the best prospects? He's got Kundra at 49. Oh yeah, this is just rating the prospects. Yeah, this is just that was his rating. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Okay, I switched. So he's only got the mock draft through pick 71. Okay, that's right. He's got the mock draft through pick 7. So it's just through 2 rounds. I mean, the thing with Marceau is he never established himself as a dominant guy. Like, I mean, he was the best pitcher LSU had, but I think Marceau is a back of the rotation big leaguer eventually. So, if you don't have the stuff to be a front of the rotation guy, you're not going to get that big 7-figure signing bonus. But I think he's going to be close. I think he'll be a top 100 pick, and I think he'll be in the neighborhood of 800K for a signing bonus. And the thing is, when he would, Eric, remember when you're in high school, in many ways, those scouts are sort of projecting. When you have 3 more years of evidence, and the first 2 years of Marceau's career at LSU weren't great, that's going to bump you down. Like, you're not in the same category as a Jack Leiter, as a Kumar Rocker. I mean, you're not in that. You're not in that. I mean, look at even Gunnar Hoagland from Ole Miss, who had Tommy John. I mean, he's still projected to go higher than Marceau, even after Tommy John. Jaden Hill, same thing, because he can throw 100. Janet, I love the feigned outrage bit. Is that a regular thing now? Is there a video? Janet, look, if you go to the ESPN, the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, and you go to AFR, I think we did it around like 4:15 or 4:30, so like middle of hour 2 this week we did it. Thanks, it's been fun. Spurge, what's up? Troy Abear. So my wife injured her hand last Saturday night. It swole up really bad. We went to local urgent care for treatment. Report was nothing broken, just ice and elevate. Continued next post. The swelling has gone down, but the pain has gone up a lot. We live in Opelousas. I know Brock is your sponsor. Would you recommend traveling to BR for Brock? So Troy, now you're asking something like, if you went to urgent care, I would say ask a doctor, like, do you need to go to the emergency room? That's what I don't know. Like, so I'm not trying, I don't want to give you medical advice, man. Could Brock look at it? Absolutely. Could they x-ray it if there's no x-ray? Like, could you see an orthopedist? Sure, but I wouldn't go, I mean, unless if she's like in real severe pain, like I don't know if you'd make that drive. You can just go to the ER there. But the swelling has gone down, the pain has gone up. You did have an x-ray? Did you x-ray it? Look, I would call Brock and call the after hours clinic. And if it's that bad, maybe they'll suggest going to the ER if it's too much of a drive. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Manny, good morning. Any word on Gio or Travinsky? My feeling is, unless if I hear something different, that they're going to encourage Gio to sign. Travinsky isn't draft eligible, but he's coming off Tommy John. So Travinsky, you need to see if he can throw. Because if he can't throw, then he can't catch. He can't play catcher, I mean. So interesting to see what happens there. But if he comes along offensively, I mean, he could be a guy that's a DH potentially. Dylan Landry, good morning. Krista Ducote, what's up? His face lit. Blaine Smith, his face lit up talking about SMU. SMU. The Texas universities are going to benefit from NIL. Oh, God. Looking at the baseball class, they have only one left, the SMH. Well, Blaine, they've got another silently committed. And the transfer portal's there, and you got Javen Coleman, and they're going to be okay. Carrie Hughes, what should I order at Rufino's next week? Depends what you're in. We're going tonight. Tonight is birthday dinner. Birthday was on Thursday, so we're going out. Eric and I are going out tonight for my birthday dinner. So we're going to go to Rufino's tonight. Excited about it. It really depends what you're in the mood for, Carrie. You can never go wrong with their ribeye. If you're a filet guy, of course, you could do that as well. I'm a ribeye guy. It really depends what you're in the mood for. Do you want seafood? They always have great fish appetizers there. Do you want Italian? I mean, you can go Italian, seafood, or steak. It really depends what you want. I always go steak. That was not helpful at all, Carrie. I know. I'm sorry. Samuel Merrifield, Matt, has the box, in your opinion, been passed up as far as other baseball venues in terms of appeal and aesthetics? Absolutely. It's 12 years old. Yes. I mean, Duty Noble just renovated and it's gorgeous. Florida just opened a brand new ballpark. Kentucky's opened a brand new ballpark. South Carolina's park, even though it's 10 years old, is newer than LSU's park. Yeah, absolutely. But it's still one of the elite venues. I mean, it's still a top, it's just as far as size and amenities and stuff like that. It's still a top 5 venue in college baseball. It's just 12 years old, and a lot of stuff has come along since it. And I know people keep asking about like renovating the box and what do you do? I don't know. I mean, one of the appeals of the old box and places like Baum, Walker, and Fayetteville is that the fans are right on top of the field. I don't know how you do that at the box. Like I don't know how you change the dimensions to to bring the fans closer. And I think would be massively expensive and it's not really doable. I would love to see them, and it was actually an oversight when they built it. The bullpens were not supposed to be down the baseline. When they designed the box, they forgot to design bullpens. So they had to add the bullpens down the baseline late. Like that was just an oversight, believe it or not. Was there a way to add like a berm in center field? I don't know, like beyond center field is where they have that shed where they keep all the equipment and everything. Like, is there a way to possibly add some, build up a big pile of dirt and put sod down, make it into a berm for students? I think that would be really cool. It's a gorgeous park, man. It's just like anything. Of course there's going to be things that are newer. It's just like LSU football ops, man. LSU football ops wasn't old. LSU football ops opened in 2005, and since then they were first, and more people came along and built newer, grander facilities because they came along after. Like anything else, it gets better. And so LSU went and renovated, put first class airplane pods in every locker, and all the stuff that they've done. It's crazy, but yeah, it happens. But it doesn't mean it's outdated or bad or anything. It's just there's something newer, Can the Power 5 break away from the NCAA? Yeah. And they will in my lifetime. For football, anyway. Jeff Stipe, MSU and Arkansas stadiums are better. I'm not going to say that Arkansas is better because Baum Walker isn't newer. It's just the stadium isn't better. It's different in that the fans are close to the field, which has its appeal. And remember, the thing that most LSU fans are forgetting is like you watched postseason this year and you saw all these places with packed houses and people going crazy. They were playing meaningful games at their park. If LSU was playing meaningful games at Alex Box Stadium, there would have been 11,000 people there. The standing room only behind the green seats on the concourse would have been 4 or 5 deep. Like, people would have been losing their mind at every strikeout and every home run, and it would have been awesome. But LSU didn't play meaningful games at the box this year. Like, they weren't very good, so they had to travel for postseason. I mean, if LSU was playing home, like, how many regional games you saw where, let me just look at the Oregon regional. You had friggin' half full crowds. You don't think that if LSU, and in Florida, there's 1,200 people there. Like, well, it started at noon. You think if it was a noon game at the box, there wouldn't have been 11,000 people there? Of course there would have been, because it's postseason at the box. So that was a big part of it too, man. You have to play meaningful games. Blaine Smith, lists seem to be clickbait. Of course they are. I've delivered by DBU. It's small but nice looking campus. It's on top of a hill overlooking Arlington. Big D, see Jerry's World. Yep, see Jerry's World from there. Cool. AJ Holland, my concern for NIL with these young adults is hopefully they have smart, honest people managing their money. If you can't manage $50, adding zeros isn't going to help you do anything but dig a deeper hole faster. The other thing I've missed, talking about is taxes on these gains. Yeah, they have to pay taxes. So you're when a company's going to pay you to be an endorser, they're going to 1099 you. So they are going to have to pay taxes. They're all going to learn that. But again, like you're saying managing their money. Like, God, dog. I wish I could talk about the dollar amount of some of these contracts, about some of these endorsement deals, so you knew how relatively insignificant it really is. Like, if you have in your mind millions or hundreds of thousands, in some cases even tens of thousands of dollars, it's not that at all. Like, that's just not happening and not gonna happen. John DeRoche, who's going to be the starting quarterback? I think Miles Brennan is going to start the opener against UCLA. And if he plays well, he'll continue to start. But I think during the course of the season, both quarterbacks will play. And potentially by the end of the year, Max Johnson will take the job from Brennan, potentially. But I do think Brennan will start the opener against UCLA. What is it going to take to get Arch? Move your campus to Clemson? They're not getting Arch Manning. He's not coming to LSU. Box needs to be all chairbacks. What do you think? I agree. I think there should be no bleachers. I think it should be all chairback. Matt cracked open Old Ezra 7 last night. Did not disappoint. Nutty and robust. Very good, Craig Dugas. Nutty and robust. By the way, on Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Like the page, share the post. YouTube, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Please subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe. As always, Brock, Banner's Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing. We're statewide. Hudco statewide, man. No matter where you are in Louisiana, we can help you out. Hudco Roofing. Give us a shout. HudcoRoofing.com. Jerry, it's just us, Matt. You can tell Steve Mounds. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about other people's money unless it's public. Cliff, Matt Scone, MD. Is the landline ringing? No, Drew is watching videos of phones ringing. He's watching videos of ringtones. Hunter Picard. Chavinsky will be Hatterberg from Moneyball. Man, I only saw it once and I never read the book, so I need to go back and check that out again. Did they get images? Hey, Joseph Norton, I'm going to Beau Rue for lunch. What should I get? Depends what you like. I like the spicy one. You'll see it. It's like, my favorite is the, there it is. That's a picture of it right there. So good. It's all good, by the way. The chicken karaj, whatever, appetizer is amazing if you want that. The Rouge Red Tonkotsu. That's what I get. The Rouge Red Tonkotsu. In-house made tonkotsu, which is pork, broth that takes 24 hours to prepare, finished with our house-made spicy chili oil and house-made thin noodles topped with pork chashu, kikuraj, mushrooms, spinach, and ajitama, 2-day cured soft-boiled egg, which is amazing. I could eat 1 million of those eggs. I'm dead serious. Like, the eggs on there, I could literally just get an order of those. That's what I would get. The Rouge Red. Craig Dugas. Sorry, habit, Craig, because of Gavin Dugas, who pronounces the S. My bad. Let's see. Cortland, in terms of facilities, when you're the first to update, you're last. No, because you were the first to build. So you had the lead. I'll give you a better example. It's like TV contracts for the colleges, right? So the SEC sets the bar with their television contract, but it's a 7-year deal, right? And so over those 7 years, let's say the Big Tens comes up and the Big Tens surpasses the SECs, but it's 4 years after the SECs. When the SECs comes due, it's going to blow the Big Tens deal out of the water. So it's kind of like that. Let's see. Cliff, am I the only one whose live stream is paused? Maybe, Cliff. I'm looking at it right here. Mine's good. Let's see. Since the NCAA doesn't own the football playoffs or bowl games, why do teams have to listen to them when they issue a bowl ban? Good question, because the NCAA is the enforcement arm that has been accepted by the member institutions. But to the point, I think that Brian, or the question Brian asked, I think that's where we're headed with the inevitability, which is they're ultimately going to say, you know, we're good. We'll just not hang out with y'all anymore. Let's see. Ryan Leshare, the box is just a tweener park like Coors Field. Built early in the process of making a trendy new park. Other parks are built different templates. The only thing I change is seat backs throughout. Seat backs throughout, I think, is a must. You know, the chair backs, that's absolutely. It would probably reduce capacity, but would certainly make it more comfortable, more amenities there. The NCAA controls scholarships. What do you mean the NCAA controls scholarships? Troy Abear, just wondering if due to the swelling, could something have been missed on the x-ray? Yeah, I don't know, man. Doesn't feel the need to go to ER. Just curious if we go to Brock on Monday. You could absolutely do that. Set an appointment at Brock. If you can wait until Monday, I would absolutely call today and see if you can set an appointment with a hand specialist. Like Dr. Ahmad's over there. Who's the other hand specialist over there at Brock? Elbow, foot, ankle, hand, wrist, boom. Let's see. Make a recommendation. So Dr. Ahmad, Bliss, Boland, Robichaux, I don't know Wilkinson, I don't know either. I mean, if you can get in there, I'm sure they're all great, but I know Dr. Ahmad is kind of the guy. You can get in there and see him. That's what I would do, if you can wait till Monday. Let's see. Joseph Norton. Joseph likes spicy chicken. Thanks. Good. Do the Rouge Red. Let's see. The Cop says Randy Orton. I don't know what that's in reference to. Sorry. Let's see. Plenty of competent doctors in Lafayette if you really don't trust the ones near you. Randy Orton's lost twin brother. Let's see. John DeRoche, what college has the biggest TV market? What do you mean? Like, if you're going market size, I mean, the biggest TV market is New York. It's the biggest media market in the country, but there's no major college in New York. That's why Rutgers, which is in New Jersey, claims to be like New York's football team, college football team, but nobody really cares about Rutgers football. LA is the second biggest media market. So USC and UCLA out in Los Angeles. So USC would kind of probably fit the bill as the biggest name brand in a major market. Chicago would be Northwestern, which is in Evanston, which is a suburb of Chicago. But overwhelmingly, I don't think Chicago sees itself as like Northwestern town. It's more of a pro town. That's the biggest disparity. Or when you get into major markets, they're more pro towns than they are college towns. So if you're just talking about size like that, right? Market size. When you start to look at major markets that have a college town feel and appeal, I mean, Austin, Texas, obviously is significant. Birmingham, because of Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, is generally the highest rated college football TV market for major college football games. It's a mid-sized market, and and their proximity to major college football. New Orleans is similar. I don't know if that's answering your question. I guess I just don't know what prompted the question. Craig Dugas. Hot take. Frank Williams Wade will be more successful the next 5 years than Ed will, further proving we're a basketball school now. I don't think that's a hot take. The only question is for circumstances not related to on-field or on court things, are they both here for the next 5 years? I think that's the bigger question. Dr. Scone on the landline. I'm not a doctor. No, but I could definitely encourage you to go see a doctor. All the teams you name become relevant now because of NIL. John, oh my God. It continues to boggle my mind how misinformed people are. Like, John, do you really think that Rutgers is going to become a college football power because of NIL? Like, do you really in your soul believe that that's a real possibility? I'm baffled by this. Like, name me one player at Rutgers. Who in the hell is going to go dump money into Like, here's the point. If there was a guy, like, John, that's the stupidest comment. And like, I've seen some stupid ones. And no disrespect to you. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying that is the stupidest comment I've ever heard. Like, with respect to NIL. That is the worst comment I've heard with respect to NIL. If there were people, like, legitimately, think about this. Just follow me. If there were super wealthy people affiliated with Rutgers football who were willing to dump massive amounts of money into Rutgers football, why haven't they been doing it already? Why not go build a gigantic facility? Why not say, here's $10 million, go hire the best coach you can? Like, go build a brand new football ops, go build this, like, why? Hershey's here. Hey, Hersh. Hi, Hersh. Oh, it's a Hershey. Oh, it's a Hershey. Okay, we'll see you later. All right, y'all, I guess show's over. Hershey's here. Y'all have an awesome Saturday. We'll see.